So we got another garage we're squaring up again. Done this one a little bit different, right? It's boring. You see the same old stuff, but I'll show you the setup and what I'm going to do to get it done a little bit quicker. It's 9:30, just gone. No, 9:45 actually. 9:45. Flat started. We're half loaded. I want here too early. I'm going to get here about 8 o'clock-ish, 1:15. So I'll show you the setup. Gobbo out on six boards. Most we'll use profile, F-clamp, profile, line on, dory block. So we've got all 4 proes on today. Should be an early day. I don't want to be. It should be done at 2:30, I reckon. But depends how fucking tired I feel. So right, have my coke out of a can, not a bag, and away we go. Right, see you in a bit.
Hey guys, welcome to the voiceover part of the video. There's just a little bit of footage of me practicing the pick and dip. This was the second day using my specific pick and dip trowel that I made. I called this the Forever Trowel, and I made this probably over a year ago now, if not longer. And this trowel was designed exactly for what we're doing here, pick and dip. In a sense where you haven't got to quite overload the trowel every time. You can just scrape, you can just dip the trowel into the mortar, drop it on the brick, and no matter what type of brick you're using, either a brick like this with 3 big perforations in it, or your frog bricks, which we don't relay many of up north because there's only a certain few house builders that use those type of bricks, and I don't work on those sites. So yeah, the frog brick is definitely a London-based, more southern-based brick. A lot of the times, on a lot of sites up north, they use these perforated ones because, quite frankly, I think they're cheaper. So that's why they're used. So anyway, so in today's video, I'm going to talk about. Well, you've seen the title. The topic's going to be it's going to be called the dying trades. The dying trades in bricklaying. So the dying trades in bricklaying are the bricklayer themselves and the hod carrier. So, and what I mean by the dying trades is obviously, bricklaying's still going. Everyone's, they're still building houses out of brick and block, and we're still using mortar between all the masonry. But in a traditional sense, we're not just bricklayers anymore. On a house, typically, you'll have bricklayers with tilers' lats in their hand, leaf blowers, jet washers, spending extra time for free with no bonus, no extra price, no nothing, on endlessly rubbing their hands around the back of the brickwork, in the cavity, spraying the brickwork with water, brushing the brickwork on the non-face side. These are all jobs and extra little tasks within the day that take away from doing what I'm doing right now, which is laying the brick. Bricklayers were respected a long time ago, and the skill of the bricklayer showed in what you earned. A bricklayer got, say, 25-30 pence a brick, and to maximise that earning potential, you had to get a hell of a lot of bricks down. And the only thing the bricklayer would mainly do was pick up the brick and the mortar and lay it. A lot of old guys didn't use profiles back then, and the hod carrier only picked up bricks and mortar, and very rarely spent the time cleaning up, because a good hod carrier would load out the right amount of bricks, get the right amount of gobbo, keep the shovel nice and clean, keep the buckets nice and clean, and any other job was sort of pretty much designated down to a site labourer. The hod carrier would keep the area tidy, keep the bricklayer going with mortar, and that's what their job would consist of. But we're sort of losing that now in the modern building game. Now we're all becoming sort of just workers in a sense, and your big gangs are ruling the site. So subcontractors don't want just 2-on-1s anymore, or 2 bricklayers, or 1-on-1s. They want 4-on-1s, 4 and 2s, 5 and 2s, 6 and 2s. They want even up to gangs of 9, the one in now. So you've got one man that these contractors have to deal with, and not 4 independent gangs. They just want one gang of 8 instead of 4 independent gangs with their own mind, with their own, outlook. It's easier to deal with. You've got 8 workers working under one gang leader. So I'll touch on this topic a bit more after this clip.
10 to 12. I'll show you what we got done. Didn't start laying until 10, bear in mind. After that last clip I wandered off. I had to go look at something. So yeah, as you can see, I've tailed the full back out. It's quicker. No corner building, no level work. That's down there. And then this has all been done pick and dip. Look at them joints. Full as you want. So that's pick and dip. And it fills the joints at the end of the day. You might have a little bit more gobo to scrape off the floor, but you can see that's the floor down there. There's about, I'd say there's about 2 buckets down there, maybe 2 buckets. So we've got a narrow scaffold again. So this is what we do with a narrow scaffold. We go spec mix length on the brick clamps, even though I don't alter them. We go spec mix length on the brick clamps, and then we've got obviously continuous bricks, and then we've got as boards there that I'll move closer now. So hold on, I'll show you where they need to be.
So the phenomenon of the big gang on the modern building site is becoming a more and more desirable way to get a start when bricklaying on these new build sites, especially for your less experienced bricklayers. I personally have taught an apprentice many years ago. If I can find some footage, I'll chuck some of it up on the screen about now. And this young lad in particular has now gone on to start a big gang of his own. And at the time I was teaching him in this clip, I wasn't very quick at all. Didn't know much. Obviously, I've been bricklaying for a number of months. But the allure of a big gang is too irresistible for, the subcontractor or even the house builder. If you're on price direct to the house builder, which you're finding that a lot more common now because of the price squeeze that we've all witnessed and we're all feeling. And the big gang is a way to sort of monopolise bricklaying, in a way to resist, the entrepreneurial spirit of the individual bricklayer, and have them all working under some so-called gang leader, just a sort of super gang. But you'll find these super gangs are not sort of comprised of experienced trowels. They're just throwing numbers at the job. So if every bricklayer can lay 100 or 200 bricks, which is sort of, any sort of improver with 6 months, 8 months experience can lay, 200, 300 bricks maybe on a straight run with good organisation and good profile setup and ample lines on the wall. Obviously these houses are now getting simpler and simpler, less details, less in and outs, they're all square, less things to test the skill of the bricklayer and promote this sort of super gang mentality that's happening now, with the mass speed they're wanting these plots up. Because if you think about it, if you've got a gang with, say, a hod carrier, a labourer loading out in front, a numpty cleaning up who has no prospect of really getting on the trowel, and you've got sort of one experienced bricklayer who's organised running the gang, and then sort of 2 or 3 improvers, sometimes bordering on full bricklayer status, sometimes of half trowel, 3/4 trowel, chucking bricks in. Even if those bricklayers are getting driven on, or those improvers are getting driven on, and the gang leader's, chucking a few in himself, you know, there could be 1,000, 1,500 bricks getting laid a day easily with a super gang, if not more, if you increase the gang size and ultimately get more numpties on the line. And this is what the allure is now. You know, you find sites run rife with these big gangs with inexperienced labour, inexperienced skill, which sort of is killing the respectableness of bricklaying, because you see a gang of 6 or 7 men on the scaffold and they're all sort of labelled as bricklayers or labourers, but there's actually very few actual skilled tradesmen within these gangs. They're just sort of streamlining the process, like on a production line, with profiles, lines, and really simple builds, which a lot of these houses are now. They're really simple. A lot of the details have been took out of them, and as I've said before, you know, anything to a lot less skill to challenge the bricklayer. And all these extra jobs we're doing with cavities, tie wires, all the extra details I've heard about, all the tie wires got to be facing the same way, people measuring tie wires in between, you know, instead of just putting them a block and a half or whatever, or 600 if you're on Inso. It's sort of promoting this sort of super gang sort of way of working, where you've got just a guy going around cleaning up all day, everyone's on varied wages. This contract only has to pay one man, and he distributes the wages how he sees fit. These gangs don't sort of tend to last consistently. You know, there's always lads jacking up or trying to find different ways of working, because it can get stressful working in a gang when everyone's on different sort of money, everyone's of a different experience, and they're all sort of muddling through together, with one gang leader trying to streamline it all to make a bit of profit. But this is what's desirable now, and this is what a lot of contractors are pushing for, and I thought I'd just sort of highlight this sort of dying trade and dying respect that tradesmen are sort of, you know, grossly missing now because of the invention of the super gang. So that's my little take on everything. Hope you've sort of got a little bit of an idea on the super gangs now and what is really killing bricklaying in the big scheme of things, and the entrepreneurial spirit and sort of control of prices of the bricklayer, because now we've only got 1 or 2 skilled tradesmen on a building site, and varying levels of skill, all compressed into one big super gang, or 2 or 3 big super gangs across a site, with ultimately the sub is making his cut, making some big money, and also the gang leaders also trying to profit on, you know, like a second layer of subby to you know, the super gang at large. So anyway, thanks. Hope you've sort of gathered my my informational rant on the super gangs. So anyway, so yeah, back to my normal style voiceover now, after I've done my sort of like documentary style voice. So now, as you've seen here, obviously I'm doing varying levels of pick and dip here. This was probably one of the quickest and smoothest and sort of least effort I've put into laying about 800 odd brick. So I think we did this from 10 till 2, 30, then spent rest of the time working for Note cleaning up. So yeah, it's quick with profiles. I think we did 800 brick in 4 hours, and you know, you can see the hourage there. It's 200 bricks an hour like this, and you can see how I've got the board set up nice and close to the wall on the tight side, spec mixed out with the brick clamps. An old bricklayer, an old super fast bricklayer I shadowed in my younger days, used to load out like this with all the stacks, you know, all the brick clamps extended right out. You know, theoretically the labourer was getting more loaded out, obviously more in each brick clamp. But yeah, really good way of loading out in a tight confined space. So yeah, hope you enjoyed that little video on my the dying trade of the bricklayer, and due to the invention of the super gang. It's, you know, it's something to think about, and not a lot of people are always aware of this, you know, as I'm a sort of coming up on, I've been doing this how long now, 16 years since I picked up my trowel first time, and I've been over 11 years on site, I think. So So yeah, on price, shall I say, 11 years on price. So yeah, so hopefully hopefully you've learnt a little bit from this video. I'm going to put a bit of music on to see the rest of the video out. Hope you enjoy, and we've got a few little tips on how to do a little bit more picking and dipping, laying a few more bricks, and yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you at the end of the video.
So yeah, that's all done. Pillars up, pretty much above the bird cage with what blocks I've got. So yeah, they're all up pretty much. So yeah, all squared around, lintel on. Just got to go clean this garage out, and that one I topped out the other day. So yeah, right. That's the end of the video. See you guys in the next one.